All right, Cyber Traders, good afternoon and welcome on back here this Wednesday, October 26th. Hopefully, Michael enjoys the rest of his day. He said he's off to the doctor to trade well, everyone. So great to see Michael off to the doctor, though. So have a great rest of the day, Michael. Great to see Leda, Andre, Patrick, all of us just rejoining us inside the live trading room, Christopher included. Great to see all of us there. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. Right now, the MBLY stock, MobileEye. A few of us may be familiar with this stock from years past. New IPO once again, so ended up getting just listed once more this morning here. Ended up having a nice pop to it, but we'll talk more about this stock perhaps in our phase 2 course coming up later on today. We'll be finishing up the phase 2 stock course that is at least at 3:05 p.m. Eastern time. Just long story short with this stock as a new IPO is that it has no historical levels really for you to work off of, even though it was previous listed years past. I mean, I'm just working off a fresh daily chart here, so I'm not assuming any historical levels right here. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for you to try and follow, especially if you don't follow level 3 or level 4. If you do happen to follow level 3 or level 4, it definitely makes it a lot easier. So right now it ended up making a nice bounce from roughly 26.50, broke under that price and broke back above it, led to a good squeeze. So for right now, it's trying to make its way back up, trying to test the trend line I built here from earlier, acting as support. This time here acting as resistance. So, we'll put this on our watch list for right now. Just, volatile stock, trading a lot of volume per minute. Order book definitely not as liquid, so it's not like a level 1 or 2 stock as we would categorize it based off of volatility, but probably like more like level, probably even more like a level 4 here at this point. We categorize stocks based off of volatility, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, of course, mind you, we have the programs that we use to trade with, like level 3, the ECN book, level 4 book map. So, that could be a little tricky otherwise if you're not a full-time student. But, we teach that within the phase 1 course nonetheless. MBLY will put on our watch list either way. Hopefully, it could break back over these trend lines and for that to get flipped back into support. Let's go from top to bottom, though. Otherwise, here, the market ended up making a really strong push from the morning, of course. But, at that point, ended up really reversing right off like class as we had finished up the phase 2 from this morning at like 11:30 Eastern, 12 o'clock Eastern. Ended up really beginning to pull back, beginning to make lower highs recently and pulling back towards the opening print again. So we'll see if there could be any shorts if the market continues to stumble off. But otherwise, though, we'll go from top to bottom here. The Epix, this ended up making a really good push. I mean, from the morning, but then even when you thought it was going to begin to head fake and look to snap and go the other way and tank, ended up making that big pop, that big breakout. Actually, was right off of like 350. So once this really broke back over the 350 level, taking us into the early afternoon, ended up leading to the much bigger pop. It got halted, I think, a couple of times even. So, the deal with the stock is for as much as it goes up, you got to wonder when is it going to begin to pull back and fade, go the other way. And, that's what we were wondering here, right? Well, the question isn't as much when, it's more where, what price. So it's easy to say 350 was becoming resistance. So you had to be careful there. But the more this goes up, you would expect resistance off a whole number. And, this just moved over 4 and was building higher lows from there. Well, that leads me to 5. So the more this pushes up and up and up and up, you got to expect, even if it does crack above 5 the first time it tests it, it should be a false breakout. And with that, led to a giant drop, false breakout from 5. I was even mentioning inside the chat board earlier today that we had a little historical data, I think from like years past, like a strong level historically off of like 520-ish. So the combination of those two led for the top and then for this to snap back down at this point. The thing with this Epix trade is that if you go back on the last year or so, it's been namely a pop and drop type of stock. It's not necessarily the type of stock that you'd look to swing trade. Look how much it dropped off even here off the highs, from the past year or so. We're following this off of news that came out, just pre-market activity. It might have had a gap up. but more days than not, it ended up leading to either a negative day or a complete dump off. Then the following days after, it flipped negative. So Epix right now, I'm not as keen to put on our main watch list. We had fun with this stock. It treated us really well. Thankfully, at least we do know it's very liquid. Very good order book, but let's see if there's anything else looking better, more trending on the way up. I do know one already that's making a good move. MBLY we already have on our watch list, but RLX, not Rolex, as in the watch company, but I think this is just RLX Technology Incorporated. Ended up making a nice squeeze up early today. Hint the key word there, folks, for all of us inside the trading room: squeeze. Right? We finished up our class this morning talking about squeezes and bounces. And, this stock here, a few of us may recall back from a few years ago, this off its IPO is like a $30, $35 stock. For as much as it drops, you got to wonder, when is it going to begin to squeeze back up? And, in terms of a swing, you want to ask that question when, but it's also, again, more so the question of where. So ultimately, over time, this ended up beginning to pull back. It made a really strong bounce from one, and from there has made a very strong run back up here on the intraday. So at the highs here, you have a bit of an order on the ask, 125,000 shares roughly on the ask at 188. So should this build support coming up a higher low? Looks like it built some resistance up top here off 167-ish. 164-ish here. So look for that to be at least support. And should that at least hold, perhaps this can make a run up higher and look to make the test up towards the 100 now 26,000 shares at 188. All right, so we got two good stocks on our watch list here to begin. Keep it going here. EDU, not as liquid, as we've known it to be after they did their reverse stock split. Now this ARBK, I at first kind of skipped over. This stock was from pre-market. It was a dud. So at first I kind of skipped over it mentally, just going through this gainers list with you folks. Then I kind of just internally thought, I'm like, I don't think it was up 46% in pre-market. So here we are now, ARBK making a big pop right in front of us, broke higher off 260. Currently, there's 25,000 shares on the ask, right at 288. Right at 288 there. Is that the same price as where we had the RLX one? No, 188 for RLX, right? 188 for RLX and then 288 for ARBK. My dyslexia is kicking in there a bit, but ARBK, nice pop right now. Hopefully this certainly continues to push up. Has about 25,000 on the ask here, but looks good. All right, let's see what else we got for right now. GOVX. I ended up taking a couple cents on this earlier. Ended up shaking down. I missed the initial run, like the better run, in fact, from $1, broke over a VWAP here, moved up really well. Well, when a stock breaks above resistance and runs off it a bit, I'm looking for resistance to get flipped into support. So I ended up jumping in off 105. Things were looking good at first, but it just took too long. I didn't want to hold on to a trade going into class. I was also trading MBLY from before, and I did pretty nicely on that. But I just didn't want to hold on to this, in case if it just shook lower and broke below the VWAP. So, it ended up pushing back up a little bit. Now back up to 110. I took 2 cents on this trade, but, hopefully this continues. It's showing a little strength here now at this point coming off the VWAP. I'll slip this on the back end of our watch list here for right now, seeing if this can make the higher high later on today. All right, so alongside EDU, there's TAL, another Chinese education-based company. Not a whole lot happening on this right now. Here's my running joke of the day, folks. Fausto mentioned this in the morning meeting. I apologize because I was away from my desk at that time, but here's my running joke of the day. I didn't realize this until right now. When did Wingstop become a $157 stock? Now, of course, we have the answer to that question here just from the daily chart is probably, well, it was higher than that at one point, but holy smokes, Wingstops is like running back up to the all-time highs. Damn. I mean, when does like a restaurant like this become a $100 stock, let alone a $150 stock? I remember we joked about I think Jack, right? Jack in the Box. For a long time, they were like over $100, I think. So, it's just always interesting seeing these like, known companies, like you go to the restaurants, get wings, whatever. You don't realize that A, that they're publicly traded to begin with, and B, that they're like $155 stocks. Wendy asking, what is Wing? Wingstop, the restaurant, like wing restaurant. They're at least known in Florida. So Brian saying Chipotle at 1,700. Well, Chipotle is like McDonald's, though, in the sense of it being like number one, top 3 fast food chain, right? Like Wendy says Wingstop, not in Massachusetts. Well, hey, I learned of Wingstop when I moved to Florida. I don't really think that there is a parent in New York. Maybe I'm wrong, or at least in Long Island they're not. But yeah, pretty interesting, right, Wendy? I mean, there's not too many Jack in the Boxes by me in Long Island, or there weren't by me in Long Island. But like McDonald's, you expect Chipotle, you expect Burger King, if it is publicly listed, you'd expect. But yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, we keep it going, folks. Enough of that. JD is up over 10%. I certainly wish I held on to my swing trade longer that I took from earlier this week, but I wasn't expecting as clean of a push up as we had from the morning today. JD definitely extended back up. I was expecting a little resistance over 38.50, so from yesterday early at the market open, took a clean exit. But man, today this thing ran right back on up from 37.50 all the way up towards 42.50 and change, like a 5-point move. So JD has pretty much been a sideless stock for a little while, but it fell out of our price range a little while back. So it started to pull back heading into the end of September, early October, started to drop more and more within our range. And we've been trading it over the past, few days, last week, maybe you could say, but otherwise it's going to be like a day-by-day thing for me. If it's a little too pricey normally for my liking, then I'm not going to focus on it. If there's not as much else to trade on a given morning and JD's active, then I'll look at it. That will be my kind of thoughts on it going forward. Probably furthermore in PDD, very similar. Chinese stock moved with JD, from early this week on the way down, then squeezed back up. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. I saw some of the oil stocks, energy stocks, like 9 push up earlier today. I know ENSV is one of those stocks. We'll take a look at that one. That doesn't seem to be doing much of anything there. INDO, not a whole lot there as well. All right. Just worth the check at least. See if there's anything else on the way up, folks, because even though the markets were dropping off and have been recently, still a lot that's up percentage-wise. Like number 50 is up 10%. So if there's anything else that looks really strong, moving upward pretty well, let me know. But obviously, with the way the markets are moving here, we'll just check on the loser side, see if there's anything, maybe name brand on the way down. Speaking of name brand, Spotify. A little expensive for my liking normally, but dropping off on the intraday really well. If you day trade the options on it, this could be a nice put, taking you into the close. I would definitely respect the trend first on this type of trade. If it was a lot more liquid on the order book, I would put it on our list. Got SKX and STX. They're not doing me too many favors there with that. SKX, it's like pulling back a slight amount here, dropping off a little bit right now, right? So good direction, just not really trading a whole lot of volume per minute. And then STX, same thing, a little more expensive even. All right. Let's see what else we got here in the interim. Microsoft down big today. I mean, obviously talking about an expensive stock, $233 still, even if it is at a 6.7% discount. But yeah, I mean, dropping back down pretty sharply. So that would lead me to try and follow some sideless stocks here, taking us into the close. The airlines, the cruise lines, hey, you name it, stocks, EV, car, retail. I feel like I'm forgetting one here off the top of my head. We'll go through them all. Gaming, casino stocks I was thinking of there. NCLH kind of slumping off. Not a whole lot special about this trade right now. My lovely Neo stock ended up making a choppier move this morning. Failed Fausto flag as it tried to break out over 11 and 11.10, but didn't. Trotting back down right now. Not a whole lot special happening with that. GM, wow, GM is actually holding really well at the highs. So not moving with the market here at this point, but really holding off the highs right now. Nice little move here on the swing for GM at the highs of the day right now, going counter trend with the market. So maybe we do slip GM on our main list. It's not up a whole lot percentage wise, but should the markets make a potential bounce heading into the close, then that could benefit from it pretty greatly. That's just a thought. HLX from the gainers side, just looking too flat right now. GM looks a little bit better than this. I'll put GM on our list. We're not really at an excess of stocks on our watch list for right now. Let me know, folks, for all of us inside the live trading room, any one of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, if there's anything else that looks good, up, down, left, right, more than that 5%. I'm going to filter out my Benzinga Pro scanner here right now. Let me just do that briefly. Bed Bath Beyond dropping off, the Bobby J trade, Mara taking a bit of a bath right now, dropping off quite a bit. So we'll take a look at those. Bed Bath Beyond is hard to borrow, so that's the issue on that trade. You can't really get the shares to short it, or at least likely you can't. But dropping off quite a bit right now. If you're able to short it, then I'd put it on your personal list. I wouldn't be really itching for a big meme stock type of bounce right now from 5. I would not. CGC trying to creep back up here. Small little bounce right now from 306 now up to 312, the VWAP area. It's up over 7%. But I would want to see more out of the whole sector, like the pot stocks in general. If the whole sector was strong and near the highs, then definitely. But this doesn't look too good. What else we got? We got to go through like the gaming casino stocks like MGM, Penn National. All right, so that'll just be about it, folks. I mean, GM was a nice little snipe. That was a good little catch. That was kind of off top of the head there. That wasn't off of Benzinga even. So, again, last call. Let me know if there is anything else that you'd want me to look at. Ford didn't look too good comparing GM to Ford. Right? Like, look at this. Right? The highs. I would assume next resistance of 38.50. I don't really know what level 3 looks like at the price. Not a whole lot showing, at least just yet, but there could be more through the New York Stock Exchange. This stock is listed through the NYSE. Could be more from the ARBK book or the NYSE. I'll check bookmap coming up after we finish up this meeting, though. Kathleen with the EPIX. You know what? I may have said I'd come back to EPIX, if anything. I didn't put it on our list at first, but give it a second look. I mean, it is trying to creep back up right now, isn't it? You know what? It's still trading enough volume per minute, and it is liquid enough. I did say that before I moved on from it. So, if it does make a nasty head fake here and come back down, that would be a shame. Don't want to wish that into existence for us. But EPIX, at least given the volume it's trading, the order book, it's tradable, it's relatively inexpensive, it's cheap. We'll give this a second look and see if this could snap back up over this little support trend here that it's made. I'm just going to shoot from the hip when I draw this, but right there. Let's see it hold over that. If it breaks back under that, I would say no bueno. All right, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you folks every day, each and every afternoon for joining us here live Monday to Friday. But if you have any questions, feel more than free to send over through email, josh@c2trading.com. I do have to get back to a couple of us that had sent over from yesterday morning into the afternoon. So I'll get back to all of us collectively heading into the evening. Now, same to be said for all of us inside the live trading room, but for most of us there, any of our phase 2 students and above, you folks have access to the class coming up ahead. So Rich just posted that inside the chat board for all of you folks there. So make sure that you click the link. We're going to be doing a new class, first time that I'm teaching this class coming up, charting the market. So that will be very beneficial for anyone not just looking to follow stocks for day trading, but although it's not part of our Pro Swing course, it's we're going to be talking about it in our Pro Swing course, but this obviously being part of our day trading class, Well, this class in particular could benefit you on the swing side. That's where I'm leaning towards. All right, folks. So I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing most of us there. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.